My name is Sofia Reyes, and I've forgotten what it feels like to sit down. Not because I'm dramatic, not because I'm exaggerating for effect, but because there's always something that needs doing, always someone who needs me, always another task waiting the moment I think I might rest. I'm 24 years old. I live in a faded yellow house in San Bernardino, California, with my husband Miguel and our 6-month-old daughter, Luna. The house belongs to Miguel's aunt, who rents it to us for less than market rate, a kindness that comes with the unspoken weight of obligation and family judgment. The paint peels on the window frames, the air conditioning works only in the living room, the water pressure is weak, and sometimes the kitchen sink doesn't drain properly. But it's ours, or close enough to ours. And in Southern California, where rent swallows entire paychecks, we're supposed to feel grateful. I don't feel grateful. I feel trapped. My day begins when Luna wakes up, which could be 5 in the morning or 4:30, or on particularly cruel nights, 3. She doesn't cry loudly, just a soft, insistent whimpering that pulls me from whatever thin sleep I've managed to find. I drag myself from bed, my body heavy with exhaustion that never fully leaves, and lift her from the bassinet we keep in our bedroom because she still won't sleep through the night in her crib. Miguel doesn't wake up. He's learned to sleep through her sounds, or maybe he's always known how. His breathing stays deep and even while I stumble through the dark, Luna warm and squirming against my chest. I take her to the living room where the morning light hasn't yet reached, change her diaper on the couch because walking to her room feels like too much effort. Her little legs kick while I work, and she makes those cooing sounds that would be adorable if I weren't so desperately tired. I nurse her in the oversized armchair that used to belong to Miguel's grandmother. The fabric worn smooth, the cushions sagging, but it's become my spot. The place where I spend hours feeding Luna, rocking her, staring at the walls. By the time Miguel's alarm goes off at 7, I've already been awake for hours, already fed Luna twice, already changed 3 diapers, already started a load of laundry because her onesies go through an incomprehensible number of outfit changes per day. He emerges from the bedroom, moving slowly, like someone performing the act of waking up rather than actually experiencing it. Scratches his stomach, yawns loudly, walks past me and Luna without acknowledgement, heading straight for the shower. I used to say good morning, used to try for conversation, for connection, for some recognition that we're in this together. I stopped trying months ago. Now I just sit in the chair, Luna dozing against me, listening to the water run and wondering what it would feel like to take a shower longer than 5 minutes, to stand under hot water until my muscles unknot, to have time for something as simple as washing my hair properly. Miguel works at a warehouse in Fontana, distribution center for some company I can never remember the name of. He loads trucks, moves boxes, does the kind of physical labor that leaves him legitimately tired. I understand that. I'm not dismissing how hard he works. But he gets to leave, gets to drive away from this house every morning and exist in a space where no one needs him every single second. Gets lunch breaks and coworkers and the simple luxury of using the bathroom without a baby monitor in his pocket. I don't get to leave. Luna is 6 months old, exclusively breastfed because formula is expensive and my body produces milk easily. One of the few things that's worked out as it should, which means I'm tethered to her in a way Miguel will never understand. Can't hand her off for more than an hour or two before she needs me again. Can't escape. Can't breathe. Can't exist as anything other than her mother. The house reflects my exhaustion. Dishes pile in the sink faster than I can wash them. Laundry breeds in the bedroom hamper like something living. The floors need sweeping daily but get swept maybe twice a week. There are boxes from when we moved in months ago that still haven't been unpacked, shoved into the small second bedroom that's supposed to be Luna's nursery, but mostly functions as storage. I've tried to keep up. God knows I've tried. But there aren't enough hours, there isn't enough energy, and there's only one of me doing everything. Miguel comes home around 4 most days, sometimes later if there's overtime, which there usually is because we need the money. He walks through the door and I can see the relief on his face. The workday is over, he can relax now. Except my workday never ends. He'll sit on the couch, turn on the TV, scroll through his phone. I'll be in the kitchen trying to figure out what to make for dinner with the random ingredients we have, because grocery shopping with the 6-month-old is its own special hell, and I usually grab whatever's quickest. Luna will be fussy because she's tired but fighting sleep, and I'll be bouncing her while stirring something on the stove, my arm aching, my back screaming. Miguel doesn't offer to take her, doesn't ask what I need, doesn't seem to notice that I'm juggling tasks that shouldn't have to be juggled. If Luna cries, he'll turn up the TV volume. If I ask him to hold her while I finish cooking, he'll sigh like I'm asking him to donate a kidney. He'll take her, but he'll hold her stiffly, away from his body, looking uncomfortable. Within minutes, he'll say she needs me, she wants me, she's hungry or wet or something only I can fix. And I'll take her back because it's easier than fighting, easier than explaining that babies don't only need their mothers, that fathers are supposed to be capable of providing comfort too. Dinner happens around 6. I eat standing up usually, or sitting with Luna on my lap, taking bites between keeping her entertained. Miguel eats in front of the TV, plate balanced on his knees, attention on whatever show he's watching. We don't talk. Haven't had a real conversation in weeks, maybe months. What would we even talk about? His day is work, mine is Luna, and neither of us has the energy or interest to bridge that gap. After dinner, I clean up while Miguel continues watching TV. Bath time for Luna happens around 7, a production that involves warming the portable tub, testing the water temperature obsessively, washing her carefully while she splashes and sometimes cries. Miguel stays in the living room during this ritual, has never once offered to bathe her, to give me a break, to participate in this basic aspect of her care. Then the bedtime routine, nursing her in the dark nursery, rocking her, singing softly while she fights sleep with everything in her tiny body. Some nights this takes 20 minutes. Other nights it takes 2 hours. There's no pattern, no predictability, just the endless cycle of trying to get her to sleep while my body begs for rest. When I finally emerge from her room, moving carefully so the floorboards don't creak, Miguel is usually asleep on the couch, or still watching TV, or on his phone scrolling through whatever men scroll through when they're avoiding their lives. I should wake him, should make him come to bed, should demand he help with the night waking since Luna will be up again in 3 hours, then 2 hours after that, then again before dawn. But I don't. I'm too tired to fight. Too tired to explain what should be obvious. Too tired to beg for help that will come with resentment rather than willingness. So I go to bed alone, set my phone alarm, even though I know Luna's internal clock will wake me first, lie in the dark next to my sleeping husband, and wonder how 2 people can share a bed and still be completely alone. I met Miguel when I was 19. We were both at a quinceañera for some distant cousin I barely knew, obligated to attend because family is family, you show up whether you want to or not. I was bored, picking at sheet cake when he approached me. He was 21 then, working at the warehouse, living with an apartment with 2 roommates, trying to figure out what came next. He had an easy confidence, a quick smile, a way of making me feel seen in a room full of people. We talked for hours that night, exchanged numbers, started texting constantly. The relationship developed quickly. Within 3 months, we were inseparable. Within 6 months, we were talking about moving in together.
He said he wanted something real, something lasting. Said I was different from other girls, that he could see a future with me. I was young enough to believe him, young enough to mistake intensity for depth, infatuation for love. We moved in together after dating for 8 months. A small apartment in Rialto, 1 bedroom, barely affordable, even splitting rent. My parents disapproved, said we should wait, that I should finish school first, that rushing into living together was a mistake. But I was 20, convinced I knew better, certain that what Miguel and I had was special enough to overcome practical concerns. The first few months were good. We worked opposite schedules. I had a job at a department store in the mall. He worked his warehouse shifts. We'd meet in the middle, cook dinner together, watch movies, exist in that honeymoon bubble where problems feel manageable and the future feels unlimited. Then I got pregnant. We'd been living together for 4 months. I was 20, working retail, taking online classes towards a degree I wasn't even sure I wanted. Miguel was still at the warehouse, still talking about getting promoted someday, still living paycheck to paycheck. I missed my period in December, took a test on Christmas Eve alone in our bathroom while Miguel was at his mother's house helping with tamales. The test was positive immediately. No waiting, no ambiguity. I sat on the edge of the bathtub, holding that test, watching the winter light fade outside our small window, and felt my entire life rearrange itself. This wasn't planned. We'd been careful, mostly, but not careful enough. One time, one moment of not thinking it through, and now there was a cluster of cells dividing inside me that would become a person, a whole life I'd be responsible for.
I didn't tell Miguel that night. Let him enjoy Christmas. Let myself have one more day of pretending nothing had changed. But the next morning, while we were still in bed, I showed him the test. His face went blank. Not angry, not happy, just empty. He stared at the test for a long time, then at me, then at the ceiling. He didn't ask what I wanted to do, didn't ask how I was feeling, just said we'd figure it out, that people had babies all the time, that we'd make it work. That phrase, "we'll make it work," became his mantra. Anytime I expressed fear or uncertainty, anytime I tried to talk about the massive changes heading our way, he'd say those words like they were a solution rather than an avoidance. His mother was thrilled when we told her, started planning immediately, talking about baby showers and godparents, and how excited she was to be a grandmother. My mother was quieter, more concerned, asking questions Miguel's mother never thought to ask. Are you ready for this? How will you manage financially? What about school? I didn't have good answers, just the same hollow assurance. We'll make it work. We got married when I was 5 months pregnant. City Hall, quick ceremony, a small gathering afterward at Miguel's mother's house. I wore a dress that hid my growing belly, smiled for pictures, accepted congratulations from relatives who all seemed to know this was a necessity rather than a romance. Miguel seemed relieved more than anything, like marriage checked the box, made the situation legitimate, gave him permission to stop worrying about what people thought. I felt numb. Getting married because of pregnancy, not because we'd chosen each other fully and freely, felt like starting from behind, like we'd skipped crucial steps and now had to pretend the foundation was solid when it was really just hastily poured concrete that hadn't fully set. Luna was born in March. Labor was 36 hours of pain I wasn't prepared for, despite all the classes and books and warnings. Miguel was there, but he was useless, pale and sweaty and looking like he might faint. The nurses eventually sent him to the waiting room, and I labored mostly alone, holding a stranger's hand because the person who was supposed to be my partner couldn't handle witnessing what her child was doing to my body.
When Luna finally arrived, tiny and purple and screaming, they placed her on my chest and I felt love so fierce, it was almost violent. This was my daughter, mine. I would do anything for her, protect her from everything, give her the world, even if it meant sacrificing my own. Miguel came back in after she'd been cleaned and measured, held her awkwardly like she might break, said she was beautiful, that I did great, all the things you're supposed to say. But his eyes were scared. I could see it, the reality of fatherhood crashing into him, the weight of it, the permanence of it. Those first weeks home were a blur of pain and exhaustion and learning how to keep a tiny human alive. My body felt destroyed, stitches, bleeding, breasts engorged and leaking. Luna nursed constantly, slept rarely, cried for reasons I couldn't decipher. I'd read books, taken classes, thought I was prepared. I wasn't prepared. Miguel went back to work after 1 week, said we needed his paycheck, that his boss was already annoyed about the time off. Left me alone with this newborn, this stranger who needed everything from me and gave back only demands. I called my mother crying so many times those first weeks. She'd come over, help with laundry, hold Luna so I could shower or sleep for an hour. She never said I told you so, but I could feel it hovering in the space between us. The knowledge that she'd tried to warn me, that I hadn't listened, that now I was living the consequences. Miguel tried to help in the beginning, would hold Luna for a few minutes, change a diaper if I specifically asked, but he treated fatherhood like a task to complete rather than a role to inhabit. Would check his phone while holding her, would put her down the second she got fussy, would disappear to the bedroom claiming he needed rest for work the next day. By the time Luna was 6 months old, I'd stopped asking for help. It was easier to do everything myself than to beg Miguel to care, to parent, to show up for his daughter. Now, at 6 months, we've settled into this awful routine where I do everything, and Miguel exists parallel to us rather than with us. He works, comes home, zones out. I work constantly, around the clock, without breaks or appreciation or end. And somewhere in the midst of all this, I've lost myself completely. I'm not Sofia anymore. Not the girl who had plans, who took classes, who thought about a future beyond these walls. I'm just Luna's mother, Miguel's wife, the person who keeps this household running while slowly disappearing into the role. Tonight, like every night, I sit in the dark, nursing Luna, listening to Miguel snore in the next room, and wonder how much longer I can keep doing this. Wonder if anyone would even notice if I stopped.
Miguel's family is everywhere, all the time. Not physically in our house, though sometimes it feels that way, but in our lives, in our decisions, in the constant background noise of obligations and expectations and gatherings we're required to attend. His mother, Rosa, calls every day, sometimes twice, wants to know how Luna is doing, whether she's eating enough, sleeping enough, hitting her milestones, offers advice I didn't ask for about everything from diaper rash to sleep training to when I should start solid foods. She means well, I think, but the calls exhaust me. Every conversation is a reminder that I'm being watched, evaluated, measured against some standard of motherhood I'll never quite meet. His father, Javier, is quieter but present in his own way. Shows up unannounced sometimes to drop off groceries his wife insisted we needed, or to check if Miguel needs help with anything around the house. He's kind, gentle even, but his visits always feel like inspections. He walks through rooms with assessing eyes, notices the dishes I haven't washed, the clutter I haven't cleared, the general chaos of trying to survive with an infant all day. Then there are the siblings. Miguel has 2 younger brothers and a sister, all still living at home, all loud and opinionated about how we should be raising Luna.
The cousins are even more numerous, a sprawling network of aunts and uncles and second cousins who all seem to think they have a say in our lives, because we're family and family doesn't have boundaries. But the one who's around most is Valentina. Valentina is Miguel's cousin on his father's side, 26 years old, unmarried, works at a salon in Riverside doing nails. She's always been close to Miguel. They grew up together, more like siblings and cousins, spent every holiday and birthday and random weekend together throughout their childhood. When I first met her 3 years ago at that quinceañera where Miguel and I connected, she was friendly enough, welcoming even. Asked me questions about myself, complimented my dress, made me feel included in their tight family circle. I was grateful for her warmth, for the way she made space for me in a family that could be overwhelming in its closeness. Over the years, she's become a fixture in our lives. She was at our wedding, helped plan the small reception at Rose's house. She threw me a baby shower when I was 7 months pregnant, invited all the women from Miguel's family, organized games and food, and made sure I felt celebrated. When Luna was born, Valentina was at the hospital within hours, bringing flowers and stuffed animals and an excitement that felt genuine. She visits often now, 2, 3 times a week, usually in the late afternoon or early evening. Says she's stopping by to see Luna, to check on me, to help if I need anything. She'll hold Luna while I fold laundry or start dinner. She'll wash bottles without being asked. She'll sit with me in the living room and talk about nothing important, gossip from the salon, drama with other cousins, complaints about her own mother. I should appreciate her presence, should be grateful for the help, the company, the break from the isolation that comes with being home alone with an infant all day. And I do appreciate it. Most days, Valentina's visits are the only adult conversation I have, the only time someone else holds Luna so my arms can rest, the only moments where the house feels less empty, less suffocating. She brings me coffee sometimes, the expensive kind from the place near her salon. She'll sit with me while Luna naps and listen to me complain about sleepless nights and Miguel's absence and the weight of doing everything alone. She nods in the right places, makes sympathetic sounds, and tells me I'm doing better than I think. It feels like friendship, like having someone in my corner. But there are small moments, tiny fragments of something I can't quite grasp that leave me uneasy. Like how she knows where things are in my kitchen without asking, reaches for the coffee mugs in the correct cabinet, finds the dish soap under the sink, pulls Luna's bottles from the drying rack with the familiarity of someone who's been here more often than I realize. Or how Miguel's mood shifts when she's around. He's lighter, more animated, actually participates in conversation instead of grunting responses while staring at his phone. He laughs at her stories, asks her questions, engages in a way he hasn't engaged with me since before Luna was born. Or how Valentina sometimes mentions things about Miguel's schedule. Will say something like, "Oh, Miguel said the warehouse might have Saturday shifts available." And I'll realize he never told me that. Or she'll reference a conversation they had about his truck needing new tires. And I'll wonder when they talked about that, when they had time for that conversation. These moments pass quickly. I dismiss them. Tell myself I'm reading into nothing, that my exhaustion is making me paranoid, that Valentina is family. And of course she and Miguel talk. Of course they're close. But the moments accumulate, stack on top of each other like small stones building a wall I can't see over. It's a Thursday afternoon in late September when something shifts, though I don't understand what I'm witnessing at the time.
Valentina arrives around 3, lets herself in with the key we gave her months ago. I'm on the floor with Luna, trying to encourage her to roll from back to stomach, a milestone she hasn't quite mastered yet. The pediatrician said not to worry, that babies develop at their own pace, but Rosa's constant questions about Luna's progress have made me anxious about every delayed skill. Valentina is dressed for work. Tight black pants, a fitted toque, hair and makeup perfect. She smells like the salon, that chemical mix of nail polish and acetone and artificial fragrance. She greets me warmly, bends down to coo at Luna, then straightens and looks around the living room with an expression I can't read. Not judgment, exactly. Something else. something almost possessive, like she's assessing what's hers. The thought is strange enough that I push it away immediately. She offers to watch Luna while I take a shower, and I accept gratefully. It's been 2 days since I properly washed, and I can feel the grease in my hair, the stickiness of dried milk on my skin. I escape to the bathroom, stand under water that's never quite hot enough, and try to wash away the exhaustion that's soaked into my bones. When I emerge, 20 minutes later, the longest shower I've had in weeks, I can hear Valentina talking softly in the living room. I assume she's talking to Luna, doing that high-pitched baby voice everyone uses. But as I move down the hallway, towel drying my hair, I realize she's on the phone. Her voice is low, almost intimate. I can't make out the words, but the tone is unmistakable. She's talking to someone she cares about, someone who matters. I enter the living room and she immediately ends the call, slips her phone into her pocket with a smile that seems too bright, too forced. She says her mom was asking about Luna, wanted to know when we'd bring her by for a visit. I nod, accept the explanation, take Luna from her arms. But something about the moment feels off. The quickness of ending the call, the slight flush in her cheeks, the way she won't quite meet my eyes. She leaves shortly after, saying she has a client at 4 and needs to get back to the salon. When Miguel comes home that evening, he's in a good mood, better than usual. He actually smiles when he walks through the door, asks about my day, offers to hold Luna while I make dinner. The attention should feel good, should feel like progress, like maybe he's finally realizing he needs to be more present. But it doesn't feel good. It feels suspicious, like he's acting a role rather than inhabiting it genuinely. Over dinner, frozen lasagna I heated up because cooking from scratch is beyond my capacity. He mentions that Valentina might start coming by more often. Says she's between jobs at the salon, something about her hours being cut, and she offered to help with Luna a few days a week. He presents this as if it's purely for my benefit. Extra help, more breaks, someone to watch Luna so I can rest or run errands or have time to myself. I should be grateful. Should see this as the answer to the exhaustion that's crushing me. But instead, I feel something cold settle in my chest. A warning I can't articulate. A sense that having Valentina here more often isn't help. It's something else entirely. I tell Miguel that's nice of her, that I appreciate it. My voice sounds hollow, even to my own ears. He doesn't seem to notice, just nods, finishes his food, takes his plate to the sink without washing it. The rest of the evening passes in the usual fog. Luna fusses, I nurse her, put her down. She wakes up crying. Miguel watches TV with the volume too loud. I move through the house like a ghost, tidying things that will just get messy again, folding laundry that will pile up by tomorrow, existing in the narrow space between exhaustion and obligation. Around 10, Miguel's phone buzzes on the coffee table. He's in the bathroom and the screen lights up with a text notification. I'm not someone who checks her husband's phone. Have never felt the need, never had reason to distrust him in that way. But I'm close enough to see the preview message, close enough to read Valentina's name, and below it, call me when you can. Need to talk about... The preview cuts off there, doesn't show the rest. Miguel emerges from the bathroom and sees me looking at his phone. His expression changes, shutters closed, becomes unreadable. He picks up the phone, glances at the message, types a quick response. Then he looks at me and says Valentina needs advice about something with her mother. Family drama, nothing important. The explanation is reasonable, plausible, exactly what you'd expect between close cousins. But the way he won't hold my gaze while saying it tells a different story. That night, lying in bed next to Miguel's sleeping form, I replay the day's small moments. Valentina's phone call, Miguel's sudden good mood, the text message,
and the way they seem to orbit each other in ways I'm only now beginning to notice. I tell myself I'm being ridiculous, that sleep deprivation is making me paranoid, that there's nothing suspicious about family staying close, about cousins supporting each other, about a man being in a good mood for once. But underneath the rational explanations, underneath the desperate need to believe everything is fine, a different truth is forming. Something is wrong in my marriage. Something beyond Miguel's absence, beyond his failure to parent, beyond the loneliness that's become my constant companion. Something is happening that I don't understand yet. Something involving Valentina, involving late-night texts and schedule changes, and the way my husband lights up for someone who isn't me. I don't have proof, don't have certainty, don't have anything concrete enough to name, but I have this feeling, this deep, visceral knowing that something in my life is about to break. And when it does, I'm not sure I'll survive the shattering.
Miguel starts working late. Not occasionally, not here and there when the warehouse needs extra help, but consistently, systematically, in a pattern that becomes the new normal so gradually I almost don't notice when it began. He comes home one evening and announces there's mandatory overtime available, says the warehouse is behind on orders, holiday season ramping up early, they need all hands working extra hours. Says the money will be good, that we need it desperately with Luna's upcoming pediatrician appointments and the rent increase his aunt just informed us about. I can't argue with needing money. Our account sits perpetually close to zero, sometimes dipping below. The fear of overdraft fees, of bounced checks, of not having enough for diapers or formula, even though I'm breastfeeding. I live in terror of my supply drying up and needing to buy the expensive cans that line the grocery store shelves. So I say okay. Say we'll make it work. Say I can handle Luna's bedtime routine alone. The first week, he works late 3 nights. Comes home around 8 instead of his usual 4:30. I've already fed Luna her mashed sweet potato or banana, already battled through the screaming bath time, already nursed her half to sleep before he walks through the door smelling like warehouse dust and sweat. He's exhausted, he says. The work is brutal, standing for 10-hour shifts, lifting boxes that destroy his back, dealing with the supervisor who's always on everyone's case. He eats whatever I've kept warm for him, usually something simple, rice and beans, leftover chicken, things that don't require much effort, and then collapses on the couch. Within 20 minutes, he's asleep, mouth open, one arm flung over his eyes. I navigate around him for the rest of the evening, keeping the TV volume low, moving quietly so Luna doesn't wake, existing in this liminal space between caretaker and ghost. The second week, it's 4 late nights, then 5. By the third week, he's working late every single day, coming home when it's already dark outside, when Luna is already down for the night, when I've already spent 12 hours alone with a 6-month-old who's recently discovered she can scream and has decided to practice this new skill constantly. I ask him when the overtime will end. He says he doesn't know, that the warehouse keeps extending it, that they're talking about it going through the holidays at least. 4 months of this. 4 months of being alone every evening. 4 months of single parenting, while technically still married. I should be used to being alone by now. Miguel hasn't been present even when he's physically here, always on his phone, always zoned out, always finding reasons to be somewhere else mentally, if not physically. But there's a difference between absent presence and actual absence. At least when he was home early, I could hand Luna off for 10 minutes while I used the bathroom, or heated up food, or simply stood in one spot without something pulling at me. Now, I don't have that. Luna seems to sense his absence, though that might be projection. She's fussier in the evenings, harder to settle, like she knows something is off in the rhythm of our days.
Or maybe she's just being a 6-month-old, and I'm so desperate for Miguel to face consequences for his absence that I'm imagining her missing him. The money from the overtime does appear. The paychecks are bigger, noticeably so. We catch up on the electric bill that was 2 months behind. I buy Luna new clothes because she's growing impossibly fast, and none of her onesies fit anymore. We get groceries without me having to calculate every single item's cost, without putting things back at the register because the total is more than I thought. The financial relief should make the loneliness worth it, should make the endless solo evenings bearable. But money doesn't hold me when I'm crying from exhaustion at 2 in the morning. Money doesn't change diapers or rock a screaming baby or witness any of the thousand small struggles that make up my days. Money doesn't make me feel less alone. I start talking to my mother more. Call her in the late afternoon when Luna is having a rare calm moment, when I need to hear another adult voice, when the silence of the house becomes too heavy. She asks careful questions. How's Miguel? Is he helping? Are you getting enough rest? The concern in her voice makes my chest tight because I know what she's really asking. Are you okay? Is this marriage survivable? Do you need to come home? I lie and say everything is fine. Say the overtime is temporary. Say Miguel is working hard for us. Say I'm managing better than I feel. She doesn't believe me, but doesn't push. Just reminds me that my childhood room is still there, that she and my father would love to have me and Luna anytime, that I don't have to struggle alone. The offer sits in my mind like a door I'm not ready to walk through. Leaving would mean admitting failure, admitting that getting pregnant at 20, marrying Miguel, trying to build a life together, all of it was a mistake. Admitting that everyone who expressed concern or doubt was right. I'm not ready to admit that yet.
Miguel's mother calls more frequently now, too. Wants to know why she hasn't seen Luna in weeks, why we haven't come to Sunday dinners at her house, why Miguel hasn't been returning her calls promptly. I make excuses. Say we've been busy, that Luna's sleep schedule is difficult, that Miguel is working so much he's exhausted on his days off. Rosa accepts these explanations, but I can hear the suspicion underneath, the sense that something is wrong with her son's family, and I'm not telling her what. She offers to come watch Luna sometime, to give me a break. I thank her, but deflect. The thought of Rosa in my house, seeing how I'm barely keeping things together, seeing the dishes and laundry and general chaos, seeing how absent her son is, it's too much. I'd rather struggle alone than be witnessed in my struggling. October bleeds into November. The days get shorter, darker earlier, and Miguel's absences stretch to match. Some nights he doesn't come home until 9 or 10. Says there was a problem at the warehouse. A truck broke down. They needed him to stay and help sort it out. He's always apologetic when he's very late. Brings home fast food as an offering, a burrito or tacos, something I can eat cold because Luna is usually needing me by the time he arrives, and I can't eat and hold her simultaneously. The apologies feel empty, performative, like words he knows he should say rather than genuine regret about missing another evening with his daughter, another chance to be a present father. I stop expecting him for dinner, stop planning meals that include him, start eating earlier with Luna in my lap, whatever is quickest and requires the least effort. Cereal, toast, leftovers eaten straight from the container while standing at the sink. My body is disappearing along with everything else. I catch glimpses of myself in the bathroom mirror and don't recognize the person looking back. Thinner than I've ever been, not from exercise or intention, but from forgetting to eat, from being too tired to care about food, from the way breastfeeding burns calories I don't have to spare. My skin is dull, my hair limp, dark circles permanent fixtures under my eyes. I look sick, depleted, like something essential has been drained from me and nothing is filling it back up.
Luna, by contrast, is thriving, hitting milestones, growing, developing this personality that's entirely her own. She started sitting up on her own, can grab toys and bring them to her mouth, makes these babbling sounds that almost seem like conversation. She's beautiful and healthy and everything a baby should be. I'm keeping her alive, fed, clean, safe, meeting all her basic needs even if I'm failing to meet my own. That should be enough, should make all of this worth it. But some nights, after she's finally asleep and Miguel still isn't home and the house is silent except for the hum of the refrigerator, I sit in the dark living room and feel myself dissolving, becoming less solid, less real, like I'm fading into the background of my own life. I think about the girl I was at 19, the one who worked at the department store and took online classes and had vague dreams about the future. She seems like a stranger now, someone I knew briefly but can't quite remember, like a character from a book I read years ago. That girl had autonomy, had choices, had a life that belonged to her. I don't know what I have anymore. One evening in mid-November, Miguel doesn't come home at all. I wait until midnight, Luna long asleep, my phone in my hand checking the time every few minutes. I text him around 9 asking when he'll be back. No response. Call him at 10 and it goes straight to voicemail. Text again at 11, trying to keep the panic out of my words, just asking if he's okay. Nothing. I imagine car accidents, warehouse injuries, terrible things happening to him because the alternative that he's choosing not to come home, choosing to be somewhere else, is somehow worse than tragedy. At 1 more in the morning, my phone finally buzzes. A text from Miguel. Staying at Danny's. Too tired to drive. Home in the morning. Danny is his cousin, lives in Fontana, has an apartment where various relatives crash when they need a place to sleep. The explanation is plausible. Miguel has stayed there before, years ago, before we were married, after nights out drinking with his cousins. But he's supposed to be at work, not out with Danny. Supposed to be earning overtime, not too tired to make the 20-minute drive home. The inconsistency bothers me, but I'm too exhausted to interrogate it. I text back a simple okay and go to bed. He comes home the next morning around 7, just as Luna is waking up. Walks in looking rumpled, wearing the same clothes from yesterday, but not apologetic, not guilty. Just tired, like he said he was. He showers, changes, kisses Luna's head, and leaves for work without much conversation, like the night he didn't come home is nothing worth discussing. I want to ask questions, want to demand explanations, want to say that married men with an infant don't just decide not to come home without more communication than a one-line text at 1 in the morning. But I don't say any of this. Just watch him leave, Luna on my hip, and wonder when our marriage became something that requires this much silent acceptance of the unacceptable. It happens again 2 weeks later. Another text, another night at Danny's, another morning where he appears and disappears without acknowledging that anything is strange. The third time, I do ask. Say that I don't understand why he's staying at Danny's when we live 20 minutes from the warehouse. Say that I need him home, that I need help with Luna, that single parenting every single day is destroying me. He says I'm being dramatic, that it's only happened a few times, that he's doing his best, working these brutal hours to support us. And I'm complaining about the occasional night where he's too exhausted to drive safely. The framing makes me the unreasonable one, makes my needs sound like demands, makes his absence sound like sacrifice rather than abandonment. I stop asking after that. Valentina still visits, though less frequently now. Says she's busy with the salon, that they've given her more hours since the holidays are approaching and everyone wants their nails done for parties and family gatherings. When she does come by, she's distracted, checks her phone constantly, leaves after 30 minutes instead of staying for hours like she used to. The shift in her attention should be a relief, I never fully trusted her presence anyway, but instead it adds to the general sense that everything is changing in ways I can't control. She asks about Miguel one afternoon. Casual but pointed. Wants to know how the overtime is going, whether it's as intense as he's been saying, whether he seems more stressed lately. The questions feel invasive, like she's fishing for information she should already have if they're as close as they've always claimed to be. I give vague answers. Say he's busy, that we barely see him, that the warehouse is demanding. She nods and changes the subject, but something in her expression suggests she knows more than I do about my own husband's life. December approaches. The holidays loom like an obligation I don't have energy for. Rosa calls to confirm we're coming to Christmas Eve dinner, and I agree because saying no would require explanations I don't want to give. Miguel is home more the week before Christmas. The warehouse closes for a few days, gives the workers a break. But having him home is almost harder than his absence. He takes up space without filling it usefully. Sits on the couch for hours, sleeps late into the morning, acts like he's on vacation rather than home with his wife and daughter. I ask him to watch Luna while I go to the grocery store alone, just 30 minutes to shop without a baby, and he acts like I'm asking for a kidney. Says he's tired, that he's been working nonstop, that he needs this break. I take Luna to the store with me like I always do. Strap her into the cart, navigate the crowded aisles, try to shop quickly while she grabs at everything within reach. When I get home, Miguel is asleep on the couch. Has been asleep the entire time I was gone. Didn't even notice we left. That night, alone in bed while he snores beside me, I realize I've stopped expecting anything from him. Stopped hoping he'll change or step up or become the partner I need. I've accepted that this is my life now. Alone, even when he's here. Exhausted beyond measure, disappearing slowly into the role of mother and wife while the person I used to be becomes increasingly distant, increasingly impossible to remember. And the worst part is how normal it feels. How this has become my baseline, my expectation, the life I no longer question because questioning requires energy I don't have. I'm disappearing. And nobody seems to notice. Not even me. Most of the time. Christmas passes in a blur of forced smiles and family obligations. We spend Christmas Eve at Rosa and Javier's house, crammed into their small living room with what feels like 30 relatives, though it's probably closer to 15. The house smells like tamales and champorrado. The TV plays some dubbed Christmas movie nobody watches. Children run screaming through the hallways while the adults talk over each other in that way large families do. Luna is overwhelmed by the noise and chaos, clings to me, refuses to let anyone else hold her, cries when Rosa's sister tries to take her for a photo. I spend most of the evening standing in a corner, bouncing her, trying to keep her calm, watching the party happen around me like I'm behind glass. Miguel is in his element, laughing with his brothers, drinking beer with his uncles, playing dominoes at the kitchen table. He's more animated than I've seen him in months, present in a way he never is at home. Every so often he glances over at me and Luna, offers a little wave, but makes no move to help or relieve me. Valentina is there too, though she arrives late and leaves early. Says she's busy with the salon, that they've given her more hours since the holidays are approaching and everyone wants their nails done for parties and family gatherings. When she does come by, she's distracted, checks her phone constantly, leaves after 30 minutes instead of staying for hours like she used to. The shift in her attention should be a relief. I never fully trusted her presence anyway, but instead it adds to the general sense that everything is changing in ways I can't control. Miguel walks her out when she leaves around 9. I watch through the window as they stand by her car, talking, his hand on her shoulder, her head tilted up toward him. The conversation lasts longer than seems necessary for a simple goodbye. When he comes back inside, he doesn't meet my eyes.
We leave around 11, Luna asleep in her car seat, my body aching from hours of standing and bouncing. Miguel drives, slightly buzzed from the beers he shouldn't have been drinking, and I say nothing because I'm too tired to fight. At home, I carry Luna inside and put her directly into her crib, still in the outfit Rosa bought her, a ridiculous frilly dress with matching headband that Luna hated. Miguel goes straight to bed without helping me unpack the leftovers Rosa insisted we take, without acknowledging the long evening, without thanking me for managing Luna alone for hours. I stand in the kitchen at midnight on Christmas Eve, putting away containers of food, and feel absolutely nothing. No joy, no gratitude, no holiday spirit, just emptiness and exhaustion and the distant knowledge that tomorrow I'll wake up and do it all again. Christmas Day is quieter. Just the three of us in our small house. Miguel sleeps until noon despite Luna waking at 6 as usual. I make breakfast, change diapers, play with Luna on the floor, go through all the motions alone. When Miguel finally emerges, he seems irritated that I haven't made anything special for Christmas. Says his mom always makes a big breakfast on Christmas morning, that it's tradition. I look at him, this man who slept through half the day while I've been awake for 6 hours, and something inside me hardens. I tell him if he wants a big breakfast, he's welcome to make one, that I've been up since dawn with our daughter and haven't had time to cook some elaborate meal. He mutters something about me being in a mood, grabs cereal from the cabinet, and eats it standing at the counter while scrolling through his phone. We don't exchange gifts. We'd agreed weeks ago we couldn't afford it, that Luna wouldn't remember her first Christmas anyway, that we'd save our money for necessities. But standing there watching Miguel ignore both of us on Christmas morning, I wonder if the real reason we're not celebrating is because there's nothing left in our marriage worth celebrating. The week between Christmas and New Year's stretches endlessly. The warehouse is closed, so Miguel is home, but his presence makes everything worse. He occupies space without purpose, sleeps late, watches TV, complains about being bored, acts like having time with his daughter is an inconvenience rather than a gift. I ask him to watch Luna while I shower. He agrees, but when I come out 15 minutes later, Luna is crying in her bouncer seat while Miguel is on his phone, earbuds in, completely oblivious. I ask him to change a diaper. He does it, but with such obvious reluctance and disgust that it's almost worse than if he'd refused. I suggest we take Luna to the park, get out of the house, do something as a family. He says it's too cold, that he doesn't feel like going anywhere, that we can go some other time. By New Year's Eve, I'm ready for him to go back to work. His presence has become suffocating. At least when he's gone, I can move through the house without resentment following me. At least when I'm alone with Luna, I'm not constantly comparing my effort to his complete lack of it. We don't exchange gifts. We'd agreed weeks ago we couldn't afford it, that Luna wouldn't remember her first Christmas anyway, that we'd save our money for necessities. But standing there watching Miguel ignore both of us on Christmas morning, I wonder if the real reason we're not celebrating is because there's nothing left in our marriage worth celebrating. January brings a new kind of loneliness. The holidays are over, Miguel returns to his late-night work schedule, and I'm left alone in the house with Luna through long, cold days that feel identical to each other. Luna's 7 months old now, sitting up confidently, starting to army crawl, babbling constantly in sounds that sometimes seem like words. She's developing this personality, determined, curious,
surprisingly stubborn for someone so small. Watching her grow should fill me with joy. Instead, I feel like I'm watching her development through a fog. I'm present but not present, going through the motions but not fully inhabiting them. I feed her, change her, play with her, but some essential part of me has detached, floated away to somewhere I can't quite reach. My mother notices during one of her visits in early January. She comes by to drop off some baby clothes Luna's cousin grew out of, stays for coffee, and within 10 minutes is asking if I'm okay. I tell her I'm fine, just tired. She looks at me with those mother eyes that see through everything. Says I look more than tired. Says I look depleted. Asks again if Miguel is helping, if the marriage is okay, if I need anything. The concern in her voice cracks something in me. I find myself telling her things I haven't said out loud. About Miguel's constant absence. About feeling like a single parent despite being married. About the loneliness that's become so constant I've stopped noticing it most of the time. She listens without interrupting. When she finishes, she takes my hand across the kitchen table and says, I don't have to live like this, that I can come home anytime, that Luna and I would be welcome for as long as we need.
The offer is tempting, so tempting. To leave this house, this marriage, this exhausting half-life. To go back to my parents' home where people notice when I'm struggling, where help is freely given, where I wouldn't be so crushingly alone. But leaving feels like giving up, like admitting defeat, like confirming that everyone who doubted this marriage was right. I tell my mother I'll think about it, that things might get better, that Miguel is just stressed from work. Even as I say the words, I know they're lies. Things won't get better. Miguel won't suddenly become present or helpful or the partner I need. This is who he is. This is who we are together. But I'm not ready to face that truth yet. My mother leaves with promises to come by more often, to help however she can. After she's gone, I sit in the quiet house with Luna napping in her crib and let myself cry. Not dramatic sobbing, just quiet tears that slide down my face without effort, like my body is releasing something it can't hold anymore. Miguel comes home late that night, 10:30, later than usual even for overtime. He's not apologetic, just walks in, heats up leftovers, eats standing at the counter. I ask him if the warehouse is still requiring this much overtime. He says yes without elaborating. I ask when it might end. He says he doesn't know, that they keep extending it. I ask if he can request some nights off, explain that we need help, that Luna needs to see her father, that I'm drowning in the responsibility of doing everything alone. He says I'm being unreasonable, that he's working to support us, that the overtime money is the only reason we're not completely broke, that I should be grateful instead of complaining. The word grateful ignites something in me. Grateful? Like I should thank him for the bare minimum of earning money while I do literally everything else? While I keep our daughter alive in our house functional and my own deteriorating mental health hidden? I tell him earning money isn't the same as being a father, that Luna needs more than a paycheck, that I need a partner, not a roommate who occasionally contributes financially. He tells me I don't understand how hard he works, that his job is physically exhausting, that I'm home all day with one baby while he's lifting heavy boxes for 10 hours straight. The comparison is so absurd it makes me laugh. A bitter, hollow sound. Home all day with one baby, as if caring for an infant is leisure time, as if the constant vigilance, the interrupted sleep, the physical and emotional labor of keeping another human alive is somehow easy because it happens inside a house. The fight escalates, voices raise, Miguel says things about me being spoiled, about not appreciating what he provides, about his mother managing to raise 4 kids without all this complaining. I say things about him being absent, about choosing overtime over his daughter, about being a father in name only. Luna wakes up crying, startled by the noise. I go to her immediately, lift her from the crib, rock her while she whimpers against my shoulder. Miguel doesn't follow, doesn't check on his daughter, just stays in the living room, and I hear the TV turn on. In Luna's dark room, holding her close, I realize the fight changed nothing. Miguel doesn't see my perspective because he doesn't want to see it. Acknowledging my struggle would require him to change, to step up, to be uncomfortable. It's easier to dismiss my needs as complaints, to paint me as ungrateful, to maintain his version of reality where he's the hardworking provider and I'm the demanding wife. I rock Luna until she settles, her breath evening out against my chest. She trusts me completely, depends on me for everything, loves me with the uncomplicated certainty only babies possess. And I love her desperately, fiercely, would do anything for her. But love doesn't erase exhaustion, doesn't make the loneliness bearable, doesn't change the fact that I'm 24 years old and already feel used up, worn down, like I've lived an entire difficult life in just these few months. When I return to the bedroom, Miguel is already asleep, or pretending to be. Either way, the message is clear. The conversation is over. Nothing will change. This is just how things are now. I lie awake for hours, staring at the ceiling, listening to Luna's soft breathing through the monitor, wondering how much longer I can sustain this, wondering if loving my daughter is enough to keep me in a marriage that's slowly killing me, wondering kind of mother I'll be if I stay and let myself disappear completely. The questions circled through my mind without answers. And somewhere around 3 a.m, Luna's cry pulls me from almost sleep into another feeding, another diaper change, another cycle of care that never ends. Miguel doesn't stir, doesn't wake, doesn't participate in any of it. And I stop expecting him to. February arrives with unusual rain for Southern California. Days of gray skies and steady drizzle that turns the streets slick and keeps us trapped inside. Luna's 8 months old now, pulling herself up on furniture, cruising along the couch with unsteady steps, constantly on the verge of walking, but not quite there yet.
The rain makes everything harder. Can't go to the park. Can't take walks around the neighborhood. Can't escape the 4 walls that seem to shrink a little more each day. Just me and Luna in this house, hour after hour, while the rain drums against the windows and Miguel continues his pattern of late nights and minimal presence. I've stopped asking when he'll be home, stopped texting to check on him, stopped expecting anything beyond the bare minimum. He works, or says he works, and comes home when he comes home. Sometimes that's 8 at night, sometimes 10. Once or twice a week, he doesn't come home at all. Stays at Danny's, he says, too tired to drive. The excuses have become routine enough that I no longer question them. What would be the point? He'd just get defensive, turn it around on me, make me feel unreasonable for wanting my husband to actually be home. The money continues to appear in our account. The paychecks are substantial, proof that the overtime is real, or at least that he's earning money from somewhere. We're more financially stable than we've ever been. I can buy groceries without calculating every item, can get Luna new clothes when she outgrows the old ones, can pay bills on time without the constant anxiety of overdraft fees. But financial stability doesn't fill the emptiness, doesn't make me less alone, doesn't change the fact that I'm essentially a single mother who happens to share a house with a man I barely see. Valentina's visits have become sporadic. She'll go weeks without stopping by, then appear unexpectedly on a Tuesday afternoon with coffee and apologies about being busy. The salon is demanding, she says. They've had her working longer hours, covering for other girls who called out, dealing with difficult clients. When she does visit, something about her seems different. More distracted, less interested in actually helping with Luna or keeping me company. She'll hold Luna for a few minutes, then set her down and spend most of the visit on her phone, texting someone with an intensity that suggests more than casual conversation. She asks about Miguel less directly now. Instead of specific questions, she makes vague comments. Must be nice to have the extra money from overtime. Miguel must be exhausted working so much. Does he even have time off anymore? The comments feel like fishing. Like she's trying to gauge what I know, what Miguel has told me, whether I suspect something. Suspect what exactly, I can't articulate. But the feeling persists, that there's information I don't have, conversations happening that don't include me, a version of reality that everyone else is privy to except me. One afternoon in mid-February, Valentina arrives without calling first. I'm on the floor with Luna, trying to encourage her to crawl toward a toy just out of reach, when I hear the key in the lock. She walks in looking flushed, hair slightly messy, lipstick smudged at the corner of her mouth. She's wearing clothes I haven't seen before. Expensive-looking jeans, a silk blouse, jewelry that seems too nice for a regular workday. She greets me with unusual brightness, asks how Luna is doing, but her energy is off, manic almost, like she's performing cheerfulness rather than feeling it. I offer her water, she accepts, follows me to the kitchen, leans against the counter while I fill a glass. Luna crawls after us, pulling herself up on my legs, demanding to be held. Valentina watches me lift Luna, and something crosses her face. Not jealousy exactly, something more complicated. Guilt, maybe, mixed with defiance. She says she can't stay long, just wanted to stop by and check on us. Says Miguel mentioned I've been stressed lately, that he's worried about me. The statement catches me off guard. Miguel mentioned I'm stressed? Miguel, who barely speaks to me beyond logistical necessities, is apparently discussing my mental state with his cousin. I ask when he said this. Valentina's expression shifts, realizes she's revealed something she shouldn't have. She backtracks quickly, says it was just something he mentioned in passing, nothing specific, just that new moms are always stressed and he wants to make sure I'm okay. The explanation is reasonable, but the delivery is nervous. She leaves 10 minutes later, making excuses about an appointment she's almost late for. After she's gone, I sit with the strangeness of the interaction, the smudged lipstick, the expensive clothes, the nervous energy, the slip about Miguel discussing me with her. When did they talk? Miguel barely has time to talk to me. When is he having conversations with Valentina about my stress levels? The question sits uncomfortably in my chest, but I push it away. I'm too tired to investigate, too worn down to care about the small inconsistencies that keep accumulating. Luna needs lunch, the laundry needs folding, the bathroom needs cleaning. There's always something more immediate than my suspicions. Always a task that demands attention. Always a reason to ignore the growing sense that something is fundamentally wrong. Miguel comes home early that night, 6 o'clock, practically unheard of lately. He's in a good mood, almost cheerful, which immediately puts me on edge because his moods never align with our circumstances.
He offers to watch Luna while I take a bath. The gesture is so unusual I almost refuse out of suspicion. But the lure of hot water and 20 minutes alone is too strong. I feel the tub sink into water that's almost too hot and try to relax, but my mind won't settle. Keep circling back to Valentina's visit, to Miguel's sudden good mood, to the feeling that I'm missing something obvious, something everyone else can see. From the living room, I hear Miguel playing with Luna,
making her laugh with silly sounds, genuinely engaged in a way he hasn't been in months. The sound should make me happy. Instead, it makes me suspicious. Why now? Why this sudden burst of fatherhood? What changed? When I emerge from the bathroom, skin pink from the heat, Miguel has already put Luna down for the night. She went down easy, he says proudly, like he's accomplished something remarkable rather than completing a basic parenting task. He suggests we watch a movie together, make popcorn, have an actual evening like we used to. The suggestion is so out of character, I don't know how to respond. We end up on the couch, a bowl of popcorn between us, some action movie playing that I can't focus on. Miguel keeps glancing at me, like he's waiting for something. Approval, maybe. Acknowledgement that he's trying. Halfway through the movie, he reaches for my hand. His palm is warm, calloused from warehouse work. He laces his fingers through mine and squeezes gently. The gesture should feel intimate, connecting. Instead, it feels like performance, like he's acting out the role of attentive husband for reasons I don't understand. I let him hold my hand because I'm too tired to pull away, too tired to ask questions that might lead to fights, too tired to do anything except exist in this moment of artificial closeness and pretend it means something. When the movie ends, Miguel kisses me for the first time in weeks, pulls me closer on the couch, his hands on my waist, his mouth insistent against mine. I respond because that's what wives do, because saying no would require explanations and energy I don't have, because some part of me still hopes that physical intimacy might translate to actual intimacy, that maybe this is the beginning of him being present again. We have sex on the couch, quiet and quick because Luna could wake up at any moment. It's mechanical, functional. Miguel finishes and immediately pulls away, stands up, adjusts his clothes. He says that was nice, that we should do this more often, that he misses being close to me. I nod and smile and say nothing about how hollow it all felt, how being physically connected only emphasized how emotionally distant we've become. After he goes to bed, I sit in the dark living room for another hour. My body feels used rather than loved. My mind keeps returning to the oddness of the entire evening. The early arrival, the good mood, the sudden attention. Something prompted this. Something changed. And I don't know what. The next morning, Miguel is back to his normal routine. Sleeps late, minimal interaction, leaves for work without much conversation. The previous night might as well have never happened. I'm not surprised, have learned not to expect consistency from him, but the whiplash of his attention, intense one moment, absent the next, leaves me feeling more alone than his constant absence does. Days pass. Miguel returns to his pattern of late nights. I return to my pattern of managing everything alone. The rain continues, trapping us inside, and I feel the walls of this house closing in a little more each day. Luna develops a low fever in late February. Nothing serious, the pediatrician says. Just a virus. Keep her hydrated, monitor her temperature, call if it gets worse. But Luna is miserable, clingy and crying and refusing to be put down. I spend 3 days holding her constantly, nursing her more frequently because it's the only thing that soothes her, surviving on whatever sleep I can grab in 20-minute increments while she dozes against my chest. Miguel is working late every night during these 3 days, comes home to a sick baby and an exhausted wife and offers nothing. No relief, no help, no acknowledgement that this might be difficult. On the 3rd night, when Luna's fever finally breaks and she falls into a deeper sleep, I'm so depleted I can barely stand. I haven't showered in days, haven't eaten anything beyond crackers and whatever I can grab with one hand.
My body aches from holding Luna constantly. My breasts are sore from nursing. My head pounds from dehydration and stress. Miguel comes home at 10:30. I'm on the couch, Luna finally sleeping in her crib, staring at nothing. He asks if we have any leftovers. I tell him to check the fridge. He opens it, closes it, announces there's nothing good. Orders food from some delivery app without asking if I want anything. When his food arrives, he eats it in front of me without offering to share. I watch him consume a burger and fries while my stomach growls, too tired to get up and make myself something, too numb to even feel angry about his selfishness. After he finishes eating, he announces he's exhausted, says work was brutal, goes to bed without asking how Luna is, how I am, whether I need anything. I sit in the dark living room for another hour. My body feels used rather than loved. My mind keeps returning to the oddness of the entire evening. The early arrival, the good mood, the sudden attention. Something prompted this. Something changed. The realization should devastate me. Should make me cry or rage or feel something intense. Instead, I feel nothing. Just empty. Like the part of me that could feel hurt about my marriage has finally died.
I go to bed eventually, lie next to Miguel's sleeping form. Luna wakes twice during the night. I get up both times. Miguel doesn't stir. By morning, Luna's fever is gone completely. She's back to her normal self, happy, energetic, demanding constant attention. I'm grateful she's better, grateful the worst is over. But I'm also aware that something in me has fundamentally shifted. Some final thread of hope about my marriage has snapped. I'm not leaving yet. Don't have the energy or resources to make that happen. But I'm no longer pretending this is sustainable, no longer lying to myself that things might improve. I'm just surviving, day by day, keeping Luna healthy and safe, keeping myself functional enough to care for her, and waiting. Though for what, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe for the courage to leave, maybe for things to get bad enough that leaving becomes the only option. Maybe just for Luna to be old enough that this will be easier. But something is ending. I can feel it. This marriage, this life, this version of myself that tried so hard to make this work. It's all unraveling, slowly but inevitably. And I'm too tired to try to hold it together anymore. The discovery happens on a Tuesday in early March. Not dramatically, not with some confrontation or catching them together, just quietly, accidentally, in the mundane way that life-changing revelations often occur. Luna is 9 months old. I'm doing laundry in the afternoon while she naps, sorting through the endless piles of clothes that accumulate faster than I can wash them. Miguel's jeans, his work shirts, the socks that somehow always lose their partners. His phone is on the dresser. He left it behind when he went to work this morning, which is unusual. He's normally attached to that phone like an extra limb, checking it constantly, sleeping with it on his nightstand, taking it everywhere, including the bathroom. But this morning, he was rushing, running late because he'd slept through his alarm, grabbed his wallet and keys, and left without the phone. He usually guards so carefully. I'm not someone who snoops. Have never felt compelled to go through Miguel's phone, despite the growing distance between us, despite all the small suspicions that have accumulated over months. Some part of me hasn't wanted to know, hasn't wanted to face whatever truth might be hiding there. But the phone sits on the dresser while I fold clothes, and it keeps lighting up, text after text coming through, the screen illuminating, showing preview notifications, then going dark again.
I ignore it at first, focus on matching tiny socks, phoning onesies Luna has already outgrown but I haven't had energy to sort through. But the phone lights up again. And again. Someone is texting repeatedly, urgently. And even from across the room, I can see the name. Valentina. My hands still on the laundry. Something cold settles in my stomach. The phone goes dark, lights up again. 30 seconds later, another message from Valentina. I should leave it alone, should respect his privacy, should trust that whatever his cousin is texting him about is innocent family communication. But I don't leave it alone. I walk to the dresser, pick up the phone. The screen shows 3 new messages. Just the previews. Baby, please call me when you can. I know you forgot your phone, but just in case you come back for it. We need to talk about what I said last night. Baby. His cousin just called him baby. My hand is shaking as I swipe to unlock the phone. I know his passcode, his mother's birthday, something he's never changed, never thought to hide from me. The phone unlocks. I open the messages. The conversation with Valentina goes back months, hundreds of messages, and I start scrolling, moving backward through time, watching my marriage disintegrate in reverse. The recent messages are intimate. Good morning, baby. Miss you already. Last night was perfect. Can't wait to see you again. I scroll back further. Pictures appear. Valentina in lingerie. Valentina in bed. Miguel's hand in frame, recognizable by the scar on his thumb from a childhood accident he once told me about. My legs feel weak. I sit on the edge of the bed, Luna sleeping peacefully in the next room, oblivious to her mother's world shattering. I keep scrolling, keep reading. Can't stop even though every message is a knife. December messages. I love you. I can't keep doing this, we need to tell her. Not yet. She's already struggling. I feel so guilty. Don't feel guilty. What we have is real. November messages. Tonight was amazing. I wish we didn't have to hide this. Soon, baby, I promise. When are you leaving her? I don't know yet. It's complicated with Luna. October messages. We can't keep meeting at Danny's. What if someone sees us? No one will know. We have to be more careful. I know, baby, I know. September, August, July. The messages go back to July. Almost 8 months of this. 8 months of lying and sneaking and betraying me with his own cousin while I was home drowning in new motherhood, believing his overtime stories, trusting that the late nights and absences were about work. I find the message where it started. Late July. After some family gathering, Valentina texting, I can't stop thinking about today, what we talked about. Do you really feel the same way? Miguel's response, yes. I felt this way for a long time. Since before Sofia. Before everything got complicated. Since before me. He had feelings for Valentina before he ever met me. And I was what? The convenient choice. The girl who got pregnant and forced him into a marriage he never wanted while he was in love with someone else.
The betrayal is so complete, so thorough that I can't even process it. This isn't just infidelity. This is my entire relationship being a lie. My marriage being a sham.
Everything I've struggled through, every sacrifice I've made, every moment I've tried to make this work, all of it built on the foundation of him loving someone else. His cousin. His own cousin. The wrongness of that adds another layer. The family dinners where they smiled at each other across the table, the visits where she held our daughter while sleeping with our daughter's father. The way Rosa always talked about how close they were, how they were like siblings growing up. Everyone knew how close they were. Everyone saw them together constantly, and no one suspected, or if they did, no one said anything. I keep scrolling. Find messages about me. Valentina. Does she suspect anything? Miguel. No, she's too tired to notice what's happening. Valentina. Do you still sleep with her? Miguel. Barely. Maybe once a month. It doesn't mean anything. Valentina. When are you going to leave? Miguel. I don't know. I need to figure out the right time. Luna's so young. Sofia can't handle everything alone. Valentina. So I'm supposed to wait forever? Miguel. No, baby, I promise. Just give me time. I can't lose you. The conversations show his calculations, his strategic thinking about when to leave me. Not if, but when. He's been planning his exit while I've been planning our survival. More messages. Plans to meet, the apartment in Fontana that belongs to Danny, who apparently lets them use it. Times coordinated around my schedule, around when I wouldn't notice or question. The nights he claimed to be working late. The overtime that was real, but ended earlier than he said, giving him hours to spend with her before coming home. The night Luna had a fever and I was desperate and alone, he was with Valentina. The messages from that night are casual, laughing about some show they watched together while I was 3 miles away, holding our sick infant by myself. I find pictures of them together. At restaurants I've never been to, in hotel rooms, in Danny's apartment, casual and domestic like a real couple. Valentina wearing Miguel's shirts, Miguel's arm around her, both of them smiling like they're in love and nothing else matters. In one picture, Valentina is wearing a necklace I've never seen. The caption from Miguel, "Looks perfect on you, baby." He bought her jewelry while telling me we couldn't afford for me to get new clothes, while I was wearing the same 3 outfits on rotation because everything else was stained or didn't fit, and spending money on myself felt selfish when we had bills and Luna's needs. My vision blurs. Tears I didn't know were forming spill down my face, hot and fast. I'm crying silently, one hand over my mouth to muffle any sound that might wake Luna. I scroll to the most recent messages, from last night, apparently. Valentina saying she can't do this anymore, that it's been 8 months and he keeps promising to leave me but never does, that she loves him but she's tired of being the other woman, that maybe they should end this. Miguel's responses are desperate. Please don't do this. I love you. I'm going to tell Sofia soon, I promise. Just give me a little more time. I can't lose you. This morning, before he left for work, I'm sorry about last night. I hate when we fight. You're the only good thing in my life right now. I'll figure out how to fix this, I promise. Te amo. Te amo. He told her he loved her this morning, probably moments before he kissed Luna's head and left our house without a word to me beyond asking if I'd seen his keys. The phone is still in my hand, the evidence of everything right there in glowing pixels. Months of betrayal, months of lying, months of him touching her while barely touching me. Months of him building a whole separate life with someone else while I struggled alone in the life we were supposed to be building together. Luna makes a sound through the monitor. A soft cry, the kind that means she's waking up from her nap. I set the phone down carefully, like it might explode. Walk to her room on legs that don't feel entirely solid. Lift her from the crib. She's warm and sleepy, reaching for me with complete trust. Her whole world's safe because her mother is here. I hold her and something inside me solidifies.
hardens into something that feels like resolve. This ends now. Today. I'm not spending one more night in this house pretending I don't know. Not spending one more moment in a marriage that was never real to begin with. I carry Luna to the living room, sit in the chair where I've spent countless hours nursing her, rocking her, staring at walls and wondering why I felt so alone. Now I know why. I was alone. My husband was never really mine, was never really here, was always somewhere else with someone else wanting something else. The afternoon passes in strange suspension. I feed Luna, change her diaper, play with her on the floor, go through all the normal motions while my mind races through logistics.
I need to leave. Need to take Luna and go to my mother's house like she's been offering for months. Need to get out of here before Miguel comes home, before I have to face him, before I do or say something I'll regret. But I also need him to know that I know. Need him to understand that I found out, that his carefully constructed lies fell apart, that he doesn't get to control the narrative or the timing. Around 4 o'clock, I text him, "I have your phone. I read everything." Then I turn off my phone. Don't want to see his response, don't want his panic or his excuses or his attempts to explain the unexplainable. I pack a bag for Luna first. Diapers, wipes, clothes, her favorite stuffed animal, the essentials she'll need for however long we're gone. Then a bag for myself. Just the basics because I can't think clearly enough to plan beyond tonight. I load everything into my car, the old Honda Civic I barely drive because Miguel always takes it when he needs to go somewhere, leaving me without transportation. Luna senses something is off. She's fussy, clingy, keeps reaching for me with increasingly urgent sounds. I hold her close, kiss her head, tell her we're going to Grandma's house. Tell her everything will be okay, even though I'm not sure it will be. I'm buckling Luna into her car seat when I hear tires on gravel. Miguel's truck pulling into the driveway, hours earlier than he should be home. He got my text, came back, and now I have to face him before I'm ready. He gets out of the truck quickly, his face pale, and I can see the panic radiating off him even from across the driveway. He calls my name. I don't respond. Just finish buckling Luna, close the car door, and turn to face him. We stand there in the driveway, 10 feet apart, and I can see him trying to figure out what to say, how to explain, how to fix this. But there's nothing to say, nothing that could possibly fix this. So I speak first. My voice is calmer than I expected, steady despite the chaos inside me. I tell him I know everything, about Valentina, about the 8 months of lying, about the apartment and the hotels, and the nights he chose her over his family, about the messages planning when he'd leave me, about how my entire marriage has been built on his betrayal. He tries to respond, starts to speak, but I hold up my hand and keep talking. I tell him I'm leaving, taking Luna to my mother's house, that he can stay here with Valentina for all I care, since that's clearly where he wants to be, that I'm done pretending this marriage is salvageable. He's crying now, actual tears on his face, says he's sorry, that he never meant for this to happen, that things of Valentina got complicated, but he loves me too, loves Luna, wants to fix this. The words are hollow, meaningless, too little, devastatingly late. I tell him we're done talking, that my lawyer will contact him about separation and custody arrangements, that he can get his things from the house when I'm not there. Then I get in my car, start the engine, and drive away while he stands in the driveway watching, his phone in his hand, the phone that contains all the evidence of how thoroughly he destroyed us. In the rearview mirror, I see him get smaller, see the house get smaller, see the whole life I built there shrinking into the distance. Luna makes questioning sounds from her car seat. I reach back and hold her tiny foot, warm in her little sock, and tell her we're okay. We're going to be okay. I don't know if that's true. Don't know how I'll survive this. Don't know how to be a single mother or how to rebuild a life from ruins. But I know I can't stay.
Can't spend one more night in that house with the man who never really wanted me. Can't keep pretending that sacrifice and endurance are the same as love. So I drive toward my mother's house with my daughter in the back seat and everything I own in 2 hastily packed bags. And I don't look back. My mother doesn't ask questions when I arrive at her door with Luna and 2 bags at 6 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. She just opens her arms, takes Luna from me, looks at my face, and understands immediately that something has broken beyond repair. My father appears in the hallway behind her. He sees my expression, sees the bags, and his jaw tightens in that way it does when he's angry but trying to control it. They bring us inside. My mother takes Luna to the kitchen, starts warming up food, even though I haven't said I'm hungry. My father carries our bags upstairs to my old bedroom without being asked. I stand in the entryway of the house I grew up in, and something inside me finally lets go. The adrenaline that carried me through packing and driving and confronting Miguel drains away, all at once, leaving nothing but exhaustion so complete I can barely stand. My mother returns without Luna. Says she put her in the high chair with some cut-up fruits, that she's happy and distracted. Then she takes my hand and leads me to the couch. She sits beside me and waits. Doesn't push, just waits until I'm ready to speak. When the words finally come, they pour out in a flood. About finding the messages, about Valentina, about 8 months of lying, about the apartment and the hotels, and every single late night that was never about overtime. About how my entire marriage was built on him wanting someone else. His cousin. I keep saying it because the wrongness of it still hasn't fully registered. His own cousin.
My mother listens without interrupting. When I finish, when there are no more words left, she pulls me against her shoulder and I cry. Really cry. For the first time since finding the messages. Ugly, gasping sobs that feel like they're tearing me apart from the inside. My father comes downstairs while I'm crying. I hear him in the kitchen with Luna, hear her laughing at something he's doing. The normalcy of that sound, my daughter happy and safe, makes me cry harder. I don't know how long I sit there. Time becomes fluid, meaningless. Eventually the tears slow, stop, leave me hollow and aching, but also strangely calm. My mother makes me eat something, chicken and rice that tastes like nothing, but I force down anyway because she's watching with those mother eyes that won't let me refuse. Luna eats too, smearing banana across her face, oblivious to the wreckage of her parents' marriage. That night, I sleep in my childhood bed with Luna in a portable crib borrowed from a neighbor. The room looks exactly as it did when I left at 20. Same lavender walls, same white furniture, same curtains. Like the past 4 years never happened. Like I never left, never got pregnant, never married Miguel. Like I could wake up tomorrow and still be that girl with plans and possibilities, instead of a 24-year-old with a failed marriage and a baby and no idea what comes next. But I'm not that girl anymore. Can never be her again. Luna wakes 3 times during the night. Each time I nurse her in the dark, surrounded by remnants of my adolescence, and wonder how I ended up right back where I started, but carrying so much more weight. The next morning, my phone has 47 missed calls, 32 from Miguel, 15 from numbers I don't recognize, probably his family, probably Valentina, probably people who've heard by now and want to insert themselves into this disaster. There are text messages too, hundreds of them. I scroll through Miguel's without reading them fully. They all say variations of the same thing. I'm sorry, please come back, we need to talk, I love you, give me a chance to explain, think about Luna, don't do this. As if I'm the one who did this. As if I'm the one who destroyed our marriage. I delete them without responding. Block his number, block Valentina's number,
block everyone from his family except Rosa because she's Luna's grandmother and deserves access to her granddaughter, even if her son is a liar. My mother makes breakfast, pancakes that Luna loves, coffee that I drink too fast and immediately regret. My father has already left for work, but there's a note on the table. We're here for whatever you need, always. The simple statement makes my throat tight. Around 10, Rosa calls. I consider not answering, but something makes me pick up. Her voice is careful, controlled. She asks if Luna's okay, if I'm okay. Says Miguel came to her house last night devastated, told her everything, and she doesn't know what to say. I wait for her to defend him, to make excuses, to tell me that marriage is hard and people make mistakes, and I should give him another chance for Luna's sake. But she doesn't. Instead, she says she's ashamed of her son, that what he did was unforgivable, that she had no idea about Valentina, that if she'd known, she would have stopped it immediately. The conversation is brief. She asks if she can see Luna sometime. I say yes, that she is welcome to visit, that whatever happened between Miguel and I doesn't change Luna's relationship with her grandmother. After we hang up, I feel slightly less alone. Rosa's condemnation of Miguel doesn't fix anything, but it confirms that I'm not crazy, that what he did was wrong, that I'm not overreacting or being unreasonable. The days blur together. I exist in a strange fog where everything feels both hyper-real and distant. I care for Luna mechanically, feeding her, changing her, playing with her, but part of me is somewhere else, still processing the scale of the betrayal. My mother helps constantly, takes Luna so I can shower, sleep, sit in silence, never complains, never makes me feel like a burden even though I know I am. My father is quieter, but his support is equally present. He fixes things around the house that don't need fixing, always nearby but giving me space, letting me know through actions rather than words that I'm safe here. Luna adapts surprisingly well. She's happy with the attention from her grandparents, doesn't seem to notice Miguel's absence, or if she does, she doesn't have words to express it. She's 9 months old. Her world is still small enough that changes don't devastate her the way they devastate me. Miguel shows up at my parents' house 4 days after I left. I'm in the backyard with Luna, letting her practice pulling up on the patio furniture, when I hear his truck in the driveway. My stomach drops. I scoop up Luna and head toward the back door, but my father is already there. He intercepts Miguel at the front door before he can knock. I watch through the window as they talk. Miguel looks terrible, unshaven, disheveled, like he hasn't slept. My father stands in the doorway, arms crossed, blocking entry.
The conversation is brief. Miguel is gesturing, clearly upset, but my father remains immovable. Eventually, Miguel gets back in his truck and leaves. My father comes inside and finds me in the kitchen. Says Miguel wanted to see Luna, wanted to talk to me. Says he told Miguel to communicate through a lawyer, that showing up unannounced isn't acceptable, that I'm not ready to see him. I'm grateful my father handled it. Grateful I didn't have to face Miguel myself. Not yet. Maybe not ever. That evening, I call a lawyer, a woman my mother's friend recommended. She's kind but direct. Explains the process for legal separation, for divorce, for custody arrangements. Says California is a no-fault state, so Miguel's infidelity won't affect the divorce itself, but it might influence custody, depending on how things proceed. The practical discussion of dismantling my marriage makes it feel more real, final. There's no going back from this. No way to unknow what I know. No way to rebuild trust that was never actually there. I schedule a consultation for the following week. Start gathering documents, birth certificates, marriage license, bank statements, building the paper trail that will legally end what should never have started. March continues. Luna turns 9 months old officially.
I buy a small cake from the grocery store, sing to her in my parents' kitchen. She smashes cake into her hair and laughs, completely unconcerned about the milestone or what it represents. 9 months old. The same amount of time I carried her inside me. The same amount of time Miguel was betraying me with Valentina. The symmetry feels cruel. My mother suggests I see a therapist, says processing this kind of betrayal alone isn't healthy, helps me find someone who takes my insurance, watches Luna during the appointments. The therapist is a middle-aged woman named Dr. Martinez. She has a calm office with soft lighting and asks gentle questions. I tell her everything, not just about Miguel and Valentina, but about the loneliness that existed long before I found the messages, about feeling like I disappeared into motherhood, about the exhaustion and resentment and slow erosion of myself. She listens and then says something that shifts my perspective. You've been grieving this marriage for months. Finding out about the affair didn't end your relationship. It just made the ending visible. The words settle into me. She's right. The marriage was already dead. I was already mourning it. The discovery just gave me permission to stop pretending. Over the following weeks, I start to notice small changes in myself. I'm sleeping better, despite everything. Eating more. Taking showers that last longer than 5 minutes. Small acts of self-care that were impossible when I was drowning. My body starts to feel like mine again. Not just a vehicle for keeping Luna alive. Not just something Miguel occasionally used. Mine. I start thinking about the future beyond survival, about what I actually want, about the girl who wanted to work with children, who had plans, who existed before pregnancy and marriage erased her. Maybe that girl is still in here somewhere. Maybe she can be recovered. Late March brings more developments. The lawyer sends papers to Miguel. He has to respond within 30 days, has to acknowledge that our marriage is ending whether he wants it to or not. Rosa calls to say the family knows now about Valentina, about the affair, says there was a terrible confrontation at Sunday dinner, that Valentina's mother was devastated, that the whole family is in chaos. I feel a flicker of satisfaction hearing this. Their perfect family hiding their terrible secret. Now everyone knows. Now they have to face what Miguel and Valentina did. Rosa says Valentina is claiming she loves Miguel, that they want to be together, that I was standing in the way of their happiness. The audacity of this makes me laugh, a harsh, bitter sound. I was standing in the way. I was the obstacle, not Miguel's marriage vows, not his infant daughter, not basic human decency. Just me, inconveniently existing in the life he wanted to abandon for his cousin. Rosa apologizes again, says she's ashamed of her son, of her niece, of how this reflects on their family. I tell her I appreciate that, but I'm not concerned about their family's reputation. I'm concerned about rebuilding my life and protecting my daughter. After we hang up, I realize I mean it. I'm not interested in revenge or punishment or making Miguel suffer. I just want out, want to close this chapter and move forward into whatever comes next. April arrives with warming weather. Luna is almost 10 months old now, cruising confidently, saying mama and agua, and something that might be no. She's developing faster now that we're at my parents' house. More stimulation, more attention, more consistency than she ever had in that house with Miguel. I take her to the park sometimes, watch her explore wood chips and swings and other children with fearless curiosity. She's resilient in the way children are, already adapting to this new normal, already thriving without her father's inconsistent presence. One afternoon at the park, I see a young mother with a newborn. She looks exhausted, overwhelmed, like she's barely holding it together. Her husband is on his phone nearby, not helping, not noticing her struggle. I recognize that look, that particular exhaustion, that loneliness even when you're not physically alone. I almost approach her, almost say something. But what would I say? that it doesn't get easier, that some men never step up, that sometimes love isn't enough. So I say nothing, just watch her struggle and hope her story ends differently than mine.
By mid-April, I've made decisions. I'm filing for divorce, not just separation. I'm requesting primary custody, with Miguel having supervised visitation until Luna is older. I'm asking for child support. Not much, because Miguel doesn't make much, but something to acknowledge his financial responsibility. The lawyer says these requests are reasonable, says Miguel will probably agree to avoid a custody battle he can't win. I also make another decision. I'm going back to school. Online classes at first, while Luna is still so young, but I'm finishing what I started, getting my degree, becoming the preschool teacher I planned to be before pregnancy derailed everything. It will take time, years probably, balancing school and single motherhood and work, but I have time now, have space to rebuild, have a support system that makes it possible. My mother cries when I tell her, happy tears, proud tears, says she knew I still had dreams in me, just needed to remember them. That night, I sit in my childhood bedroom with Luna asleep beside me and feel something I haven't felt in years. Hope. Not happiness. Not yet. The betrayal still aches, the loneliness still surfaces, the fear about the future still grips me sometimes. But underneath all of that, hope. Fragile and tentative, but real. Hope that I can survive this, that Luna and I will be okay, that there's life after this kind of devastation. Hope that the girl I used to be isn't completely gone, that maybe with time and effort and support, I can become someone even better. Someone who knows her worth, who won't accept crumbs disguised as love, who won't disappear into someone else's life. Someone whole. I'm not there yet, not even close, but I can see the path forward now, can imagine a future that doesn't look like drowning. And for tonight, that's enough. The divorce is finalized on a Thursday in late September, almost 7 months after I left. I'm not present for it. The lawyer handles everything remotely, and I received the official documents via email while sitting in my parents' living room with Luna playing at my feet. She's almost 13 months old now, toddling around with unsteady steps, babbling in her own language that occasionally includes recognizable words. I stare at the PDF on my phone screen, the legal language that dissolves my marriage, the official stamp that says Sofia Reyes is no longer bound to Miguel Reyes, that the mistake I made at 20 is finally, legally over. I don't cry, don't feel the surge of emotion I expected, just a quiet sense of relief, like setting down something heavy I've been carrying for too long. My mother finds me sitting there, phone in hand, Luna trying to climb into my lap. She asked if I'm okay. I tell her I'm divorced. She sits beside me, puts her arm around my shoulders, and we stay like that for a while. Not celebrating, not mourning, just acknowledging this marker of transition. The custody arrangement is exactly what I requested. Luna lives with me primarily. Miguel gets supervised visitation every other Saturday afternoon at Rosa's house, 3 hours at a time. He pays child support, $200 a month, which isn't much, but it's what the court determined he could afford. He's been compliant so far. Shows up to his scheduled visits, doesn't cause problems, plays with Luna for the allotted time while Rosa supervises, then lets her go without drama. I don't know if he's still with Valentina. Don't ask Rosa. Don't want to know. That part of his life is no longer my concern. The first few visits were difficult. Watching Miguel hold Luna, seeing her smile at him like he's just a fun person who appears sometimes rather than her father who abandoned her. But I've learned to detach, to drop her off and leave immediately, to use those 3 hours for myself, grocery shopping alone, studying at a coffee shop, just existing without a toddler attached to me. Rosa is kind during these exchanges, never brings up Miguel unless necessary, never makes excuses for him, just focuses on Luna, on being a grandmother, on maintaining a relationship that exists separately from his son's failures. I'm grateful for that. Luna deserves to know her grandmother, deserves to have family connections that aren't tainted by what Miguel did. School started in August. 2 online classes through the community college, Introduction to Early Childhood Development and English Composition. Both are evening classes that I complete after Luna goes to bed, sitting at my old desk in my childhood bedroom, relearning how to be a student. It's hard. Harder than I expected. Balancing motherhood and coursework and the part-time job I started in July at a daycare center nearby. But it's also fulfilling in a way nothing has been in years. I'm working towards something, building a future that's mine, that I'm choosing, that exists beyond just surviving. The daycare job happened almost accidentally. I'd taken Luna to visit one day, inquiring about enrollment for when I eventually need full-time childcare. The director, Mrs. Chen, no relation to anyone I knew before, just coincidence, mentioned they were looking for an assistant. Part-time, flexible hours, could bring Luna with me until she was old enough for the toddler room. I applied immediately, got hired the same week, started earning money that's actually mine, not dependent on Miguel's sporadic support payments. The work is exhausting. 13 toddlers in one room creates chaos that makes solo parenting look peaceful. But I'm good at it. Natural with the children in ways I never was with adults. Patient and creative, and somehow able to maintain order, but also letting them explore and play and be themselves. Mrs. Chen says I should consider getting my full teaching credential eventually, that I have the temperament for it, that the field needs people who genuinely care about children rather than just need a paycheck. The comment stays with me, plants a seed of bigger possibility. Maybe not just an associate's degree, maybe a bachelor's eventually, maybe becoming a lead teacher, running my own classroom, shaping young lives the way I once imagined. It feels impossibly far away, but so did leaving Miguel, and I did that. So did surviving the first months alone, and I did that too. Maybe impossible just means not yet. Luna's first birthday happens in mid-September, a week before the divorce finalizes. We celebrate at my parents' house with a small gathering. My parents, my younger brother who drove up from San Diego, a few family friends, Rosa. Miguel is invited for Luna's sake. He arrives on time, brings a stuffed animal that's too large for her to actually play with, stays for exactly an hour before making excuses about needing to be somewhere. I watch him interact with Luna and feel nothing. No anger, no longing, no regret. Just distant observation of a man who exists in my daughter's life, but no longer in mine. He tries to talk to me before leaving, asks how I'm doing, if I need anything, says Luna is getting so big. I keep my responses brief, polite but distant. Yes, she's growing. No, we're fine. Thank you for coming. He lingers like he wants to say more. Maybe apologize again. Maybe explain himself. Maybe ask for forgiveness I'll never give. But he must see something in my face, some boundary he finally recognizes, because he just nods and leaves. After he's gone, Rosa apologizes, says she knows it's hard having him here, that she understands if I don't want him at future gatherings. I tell her it's okay, that Luna deserves to have her father present for important moments, even if he's mostly absent otherwise, that I can handle being in the same space as him for brief periods. And I can. That's the surprising part. He doesn't devastate me anymore, doesn't occupy my thoughts or dreams, doesn't have power over my emotions. He's just Luna's father, a person I share custody with, someone I have to coordinate logistics with occasionally, but otherwise have no connection to. The liberation of that indifference is profound. October brings cooler weather and a new rhythm to our days. Luna's walking confidently now, running even, getting into everything with fearless determination. She's saying more words, no being her favorite,
used constantly for everything. She's strong-willed and curious and so completely herself. Watching her develop this personality, these preferences and opinions and quirks is the best part of every day. She doesn't ask for Miguel, doesn't seem to notice his absence during the weeks between visits. Her world is full without him. Her grandparents who dote on her, the other children at daycare, the routines we've established that provide security and consistency. I wonder sometimes if she'll remember any of this when she's older. The first year of her life split between her parents' failed marriage and the aftermath, the transitions and changes and instability. Or if she'll just remember my parents' house as home, remember feeling loved and safe, remember that her mother was always there. I hope it's the latter. One evening in late October, after Luna is asleep and my coursework is finished, I sit in the backyard of my parents' house and realize I'm happy. Not ecstatic, not without problems or stress or difficult days, but genuinely, quietly happy in a way I haven't been since before I got pregnant. I have my daughter, I have my family, I have work that fulfills me, I have school that challenges me, I have a future that looks different than I planned, but still holds possibility. I have myself back. The parts of me that got lost in that marriage, in the exhaustion and loneliness and slow erasure of who I was. I'm finding them again, rebuilding them, becoming someone I actually recognize. The girl I was at 19 is gone, can never be recovered. But the woman I'm becoming at 25, she's someone I'm starting to like. Someone strong and capable and imperfect but trying. Someone who survived betrayal and didn't let it destroy her. Someone who chose herself and her daughter over a marriage that was killing her slowly. Someone whole. November arrives with holidays looming. The previous year's Thanksgiving was spent at Rosa's house, pretending everything was fine, while Miguel and Valentina maintained their secret. The memory feels distant now, like it happened to someone else. This year, we stay at my parents' house, just the five of us. My parents, my younger brother who drove up from San Diego, Luna, and me. Small and quiet and exactly what I need. My mother makes too much food. My father insists on watching football even though no one else cares. My brother plays with Luna until she's overtired and cranky. We're chaotic and imperfect and completely ourselves. This is family. Not the performance I endured with Miguel's relatives, not the obligation and judgment and hidden secrets. Just people who love each other, who show up, who create space for each other's flaws and struggles. This is what Luna deserves to grow up with, what I deserve to live within. In December, I register for 3 classes for the spring semester. It's ambitious, more than I should probably take while working and parenting, but I'm motivated now. Can see the finish line even if it's still years away. My mother offers to watch Luna more so I can focus on school. My father helps me create a study schedule that accounts for Luna's naps and bedtime and my work shifts. They're invested in my success in ways Miguel never was. Christmas is simple. Luna is too young to understand the holiday, but delights in wrapping paper and boxes. We don't have much money for gifts, but my parents get her books and blocks and a little push toy she immediately loves. I get them small things, a picture frame with a photo of Luna, a candle for my mother, a book from my father. Tokens that say, thank you, for saving me, for giving us a home, for believing I could rebuild. There's no drama, no family gatherings with people I'm obligated to see, no Miguel showing up with guilt gifts, just us in our pajamas, watching Luna destroy wrapping paper, drinking coffee, and eating too many cookies. It's perfect. As the year ends, I find myself reflecting on everything that's changed. 12 months ago, I was trapped in that house with Miguel, drowning in loneliness, believing I had no options, believing I had to endure because I'd made choices that couldn't be unmade. Now I'm here, divorced, living with my parents, raising Luna alone, working and going to school, and building something new from the wreckage. It's not the life I imagined at 19, not even close, but it's mine, completely, authentically mine. And that matters more than I ever understood before. New Year's Eve, I put Luna to bed at her normal time. My parents go to bed early too, uninterested in staying up for midnight. I'm alone in the quiet house, and instead of feeling lonely, I feel peaceful. I think about resolutions, about what I want for the coming year. More school, more stability, more moments of joy with Luna, more rebuilding of myself. But mostly, just this: to keep moving forward, to keep choosing myself and my daughter, to keep believing that we deserve better than what we left behind. At midnight, I'm still awake. Hear fireworks in the distance, think about new beginnings and fresh starts, and all the cliches that actually feel true right now. I check on Luna, sleeping peacefully, her little chest rising and falling, completely safe and loved. Then I go to bed in my childhood room, in the house where I'm rebuilding my life, and I sleep deeply, without fear or regret. Spring semester starts in January. Luna is 15 months old, talking more every day, asserting her independence in small ways that make me laugh and occasionally pull my hair out. The classes are challenging, but manageable. I'm learning not just about child development and education theory, but about myself, about what I'm capable of when I'm not drowning, about the dreams that survived even when I thought they were dead. At the daycare, Mrs. Chen gives me more responsibilities, lets me lead circle time sometimes, asks my opinion on curriculum decisions, treats me like a professional rather than just an assistant. It's validating in ways I didn't know I needed. Miguel continues his visitation schedule. Some weeks he shows up, some weeks he cancels last minute with vague excuses. I've stopped expecting consistency from him. Luna barely reacts to his absences anymore. She's too busy with her own life to notice when he fails to show up. Rosa apologizes for him sometimes. I tell her she doesn't need to, that Miguel's relationship with Luna is his responsibility, not hers. I hear through Rosa that he and Valentina are no longer together, that their relationship fell apart a few months after I left, that the reality of being together publicly didn't match the fantasy of their secret affair. The information means nothing to me, doesn't bring satisfaction or vindication, just confirms what I already knew. What they had wasn't love, was just selfishness and betrayal dressed up as passion. Real love doesn't destroy other people, doesn't lie and sneak and build itself on someone else's pain. Real love shows up, stays, does the hard, boring, unglamorous work of partnership. I don't have that with anyone right now. Don't even want it. My focus is Luna and school and building a stable foundation for our future. But I know now what it should look like. Know what I won't accept. Know that being alone is better than being with someone who makes me feel alone. That knowledge is worth more than the failed marriage that taught it to me.
By late spring, I'm starting to think about moving out of my parents' house. Not immediately. I need to finish more school, save more money, ensure I can actually support Luna on my own. But the idea doesn't terrify me anymore. I can imagine it, a small apartment, just Luna and me, our own space, our own life. It feels possible, distant but achievable. My mother says there's no rush, that we can stay as long as we need. But I can see the pride in her eyes when I talk about eventually leaving. Pride that I'm not just surviving, but planning for independence. Luna's vocabulary explodes in the spring. She's stringing words together, asking questions, narrating her world in that toddler way that's both adorable and exhausting. She calls my parents Nana and Papa. She knows all the other kids' names at daycare.
She can identify colors and animals and sing songs she learns at circle time. She's thriving, growing into this bright, curious, determined little person who exists completely separate from the circumstances of her conception and her parents' failed marriage. She's not a mistake, never was. Even though she came from a relationship that shouldn't have happened, even though her existence tied me to Miguel forever through custody and co-parenting, she's the best thing I've ever done. Being her mother, really being present for it now that I'm not drowning, is the greatest privilege of my life. One Saturday in April, during Miguel's visitation, I go to a coffee shop alone to study. I'm deep in a textbook about developmental psychology when someone asks if the seat across from me is taken. I look up. It's a man about my age, kind smile, holding a laptop and coffee. I tell him the seat is free. He thanks me and sits down. We don't talk beyond that, both focused on our work. But there's something comfortable about the parallel existence. Two people in the same space, pursuing their own goals, not needing anything from each other. When I pack up to leave an hour later, he wishes me luck with whatever I'm studying. I thank him and leave. It's nothing, a brief, polite interaction with a stranger. But walking to my car, I realized something. I didn't feel anxious. Didn't feel like I needed to be anyone other than myself. Didn't worry about being judged or found lacking. I was just Sofia, a student, a mother, a person, complete on my own. That realization feels like the final piece of healing. I don't need someone else to validate my existence. Don't need a relationship to feel whole. Don't need anything except what I'm already building. A life that's mine, a future that's possible, a daughter who's loved. Everything else is optional. Summer arrives with heat that makes Luna cranky and me exhausted. But we manage. Spend mornings at my parents' pool, Luna in water wings, me in the shallow end, both of us escaping the relentless sun. I finish the spring semester with good grades, register for summer classes even though I probably should take a break. But momentum feels important. Stopping might mean losing the drive that's carrying me forward. Luna turns 18 months old in September. She's running now, climbing everything, testing boundaries with the determined ferocity of toddlerhood. She's challenging and delightful and exhausting. She's everything. Miguel shows up to her birthday party at my parents' house, stays for 30 minutes. Luna barely acknowledges him, too interested in cake and present and her grandparents' attention. I watch him leave early again and feel nothing. He's becoming increasingly irrelevant to our lives. Not entirely absent, he exists in the periphery, pays child support, maintains minimal contact, but he's not central, not necessary, not missed. Luna and I are fine without him, better than fine. We're happy. The story could continue, could follow me through more semesters, through graduation eventually, through Luna's childhood, through whatever comes next. But this is where the important part ends. Not with a triumphant moment or a dramatic conclusion or a new relationship that fixes everything. Just with this. I left. I survived. I'm rebuilding. I'm 25 years old with a toddler and a part-time job and a pile of student loans I'm accumulating. I live with my parents. I'm exhausted most of the time. I have hard days and moments of doubt and lingering hurt from betrayal that might never fully heal. But I also have hope, have goals, have a daughter who's thriving, have family that supports me, have dreams that aren't dead, just delayed. I have myself back. The most important thing I lost in that marriage. The thing I thought might be gone forever. I'm not the girl I was at 19. Can never be her again. But I'm becoming someone better. Someone who knows her worth, who won't accept less than she deserves, who can stand alone and be complete. Someone who survived being broken and chose to rebuild rather than stay shattered. That person, the one I'm still becoming, she's who Luna will grow up watching.
She's the model for what strength looks like, what resilience looks like, what refusing to stay in situations that destroy you looks like. And maybe that's the real story. Not the betrayal or the divorce or the dramatic discovery, but the quiet, difficult, unglamorous work of healing, of choosing yourself, of building a life from ruins and refusing to let someone else's failures define you. That's what I'm doing. Every day, one choice at a time. And it's enough. It's more than enough. It's everything.
A few years later, Luna is 6 years old, starting first grade in a few weeks. She's confident and creative and has her mother's determination and none of her father's weaknesses. She sees Miguel occasionally, every few months maybe. He tried for a while to be more present, but his interest waned as Luna grew older and required actual parenting rather than just playing with a cute baby. She's polite to him but not attached. Knows he's her father but doesn't need him to be more than that. I graduated with my associate degree 3 years ago. Got my bachelor's degree last spring. I'm teaching pre-K now at the same center where I started as an assistant. I have my own classroom, my own students, my own lesson plans. I love it. Love watching 4-year-olds discover letters and numbers and friendship. Love being the teacher I once dreamed of being. I moved into an apartment with Luna 2 years ago. Small but ours. We decorated it together. Her room is purple with stars on the ceiling. Mine is simple and calm. It's not fancy, but it's home. I haven't dated, haven't wanted to. My focus has been Luna and career and building stability. Romance feels irrelevant, unnecessary, like something from another life that doesn't fit into this one. Maybe someday. Maybe when Luna is older and I feel ready to open that part of myself again. Or maybe not. Maybe I'm complete like this, a mother, a teacher, a woman who doesn't need someone else to validate her existence. I'm okay with either possibility. Miguel remarried last year. Someone new, someone who doesn't know our history. They had a baby a few months ago. Rosa told me, probably worried I'd be upset. I wasn't. Just felt a distant hope that he's better for them than he was for us. That maybe he learned something. That maybe his new daughter will have the father Luna deserved. Luna met the baby once, came home and told me she has a sister. I corrected her, half-sister. She shrugged, unbothered by the technicality. She's not traumatized by her parents' divorce. Doesn't remember the first year of her life when everything was falling apart. Just knows that she lives with me, visits daddy sometimes, has grandparents who love her and a mother who would do anything for her. That's enough for her. More than enough. And watching her thrive, watching her be happy and secure and completely herself, that's everything to me. This life isn't what I planned, isn't the fairy tale I imagined at 19. But it's real. It's mine. It's built on truth rather than lies, on strength rather than desperation, on choice rather than obligation. And standing here at 30, with Luna starting school and my career established and a future that's wide open, I wouldn't change it. Not the pain, not the betrayal, not the hard years of rebuilding, because all of it led here, to this life, to this version of myself who knows what she's worth and won't settle for less. To Luna, who exists because of mistakes but isn't one herself. To freedom, to peace, to possibility, to beginning again and again and again until the life you're living finally matches the one you deserve. That's my story. Not a tragedy, not a triumph, just a life. Messy and imperfect and completely, authentically mine. And that's enough. It's always been enough.